maybe you just want to talk about the people of Brittany, the support on the side of the road, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, there's the famous creperie, which you stop and they cook for you. They give you their address. You send a postcard, which you then see the following time you come back on this wall. Um, there was the gentleman at the creperie that offered me to sleep in front of his house. He pulled a mattress. There was the
Wow.
lady in the rain in 15 and 3 in the morning opening the window, 3 in the morning in the rain. Bon
Yeah.
courage, allez. And you get
Yeah.
goosebumps. It doesn't matter how tired you are. There's all these kids on the side of the road just running down to give you a high five. And they're so happy with their moms. I mean, I was amazed, especially if you're with group that is locals, which I was one time. Their wife came around and she was running next to her husband as he was passing through town, stopped and, hug and kiss. The kids are there. It's
Yeah.
a festival for everyone. The event's been happening since, 1891?
This week we have Georgi Stoychev, who is originally Bulgarian but now lives in Ashburn, Virginia. He has completed 3 PBPs, with his first in 2015 ending in an Adrian Hands time, and his third in 2023 being a Charly Miller attempt. Thanks so much for joining us, Georgie.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, the usual question, Georgie, what does PBP mean to you?
It means a lot. Without going too much into details, but I first heard about it in '99 when the first Bulgarians came back from PBP. I was fascinated. 7 of them went and finished, and I started the following year in 2000. And just the stories of the camaraderie, the difficulties, different conditions, terrain, how friendly the people were there. I was fascinated, and I decided, I'm doing this one day. So.
That's cool. And actually, maybe I should have started with this. So, you moved to the United States when you were 20, I think you said. You now live in Virginia, but you grew up in where in Bulgaria?
A small town, Popovo, Popovo on the northeastern corner of the country.
Cool. And you rode your bike there quite a bit, I suspect. You've always been on a bike, is that right?
Yes, I did a lot of mountain biking, and yeah, I actually got a silver medal at the amateur national championship in '03, and I was actually a coach when I was 14. So I was leading groups of kids on like a 7-day tour, fully supported with 4 or 5 coaches leading them. So that was a great experience.
That's so cool. And then when did you start randonneuring? Was it in the United States or back in Bulgaria?
No, it was back there, 2000, 99, 2000. And then I had a 2-year gap when I was in college. I was still, cycling, but no randonneuring.
I get you. Okay, cool. Maybe tell me a bit about how it felt the first time you finished that finish line in 2015. Happy, sad, angry?
Everything all together. Those
Okay.
events take all the emotions out of you. But yeah, obviously relieved. I had a lot of issues, challenges, a very tough finish, barely honestly finished. And but afterwards, I felt like I can do anything because, for a fact, this was my first 1200.
Wow,
PBP was my first 1200.
that's crazy. So you went directly into a 1200. That's so cool.
In
Let's
fact, I was
take,
going to do it in
yeah,
2011. Sorry, interrupting you,
that's okay.
but I was
That's okay.
injured. I was
Okay.
injured because I was already dreaming to do it 10 times then, and so 15 was my first one.
Wow, wow. Maybe just another step back. Do you remember your first memory on a bicycle?
Um, well, I live on a street that's called Balkan Street, so it's very
Okay.
steep. We will just
Okay.
get to the top and just shoot down.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we have these local foldable bikes. They're pretty cool, but with the kids in the neighborhood, just riding
Oh,
everywhere, feel free.
that's so cool. And obviously, it's a big thing in Bulgaria, bikes growing up, etc. Is that right?
Hmm.
That's cool.
Definitely.
Um, okay, so then tell me originally, which we've kind of discovered, but when, or you've already discussed, when was the first time you heard the term PBP?
Yeah,
Do you remember?
99, 99. Um, and then, the Bulgarians came back from PBP in '99 and they were just all chirping about it. And I became a coach the year after and they keep telling me to come. But, I was underage. So my parents had to sign a waiver form, and
Yeah.
because the captain of the club, he was their classmate actually. So he was like
Oh,
my guardian, and I did my first 200 on a mountain bike. Looking back, I mean, why would you do such a thing? And a
that's crazy.
300, and eventually they loaned me a Peugeot. Peugeot was the bike to have from the late 80s,
Oh, right.
orange,
Yeah. I used to have one. Yeah.
skinny,
Yeah.
skinny tires. I was a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but lights were not what they are today, and no clipless pedals. I mean, everything was so basic, but we still
Yeah.
enjoyed what we did.
It's funny growing up in Ireland, right? Like all the bikes were crap. There was no geared bikes or anything like that. But when I was maybe 15, my father bought me a Peugeot and it had a
Mm,
dynamo light, a yellow kind of headlight. It was the most magical thing I'd ever seen in my life.
yeah,
Of course it got
yeah.
stolen, but that's what happens.
Not a
Um,
Coke Dynamo, right?
exactly, yeah.
Yep.
Um, so can you remember? So first of all, 2015. How old were you? Your first one, your first PBP.
30,
Okay, and
29,
uh,
precise.
oh
Yep.
really? Oh, that's amazing. And tell me, what was your kind of strategy going into that first PBP?
Finish. I mean, I do a lot of research. I'm meticulous. I plan, but quite
Yeah,
honestly, I was like, man, I really hope I can finish this. I mean, I believed in myself. I
yeah,
work hard. Looking back, I don't think I was as prepared as I should be.
yeah,
Mechanically, I pride myself as being a really good mechanic. So I think that's one thing that everyone can learn because you break down. This is not, your weekend right. You have to be able to do it. But yeah, I built the bike myself. It was all brand new, and yeah, the plan was to just be smart about my pacing and be good with hydration and nutrition. But as you know, very soon old plans go to
I do.
to waste, and you start improvising. So
Yeah. Do you remember lining up at the finish line, at the start line? How did you feel? Were you nervous?
very nervous, excited. Uh,
Yeah,
I was more excited than nervous, honestly. I think I
yeah,
had what it takes. Uh, but it was at the velodrome, Sa Quentin,
yeah,
and that was pretty special. Just the whole setup because they will open the velodrome for registration, and then
yeah,
there's a big parking lot where we were staging by group numbers. There's a big lawn in the front with large screens, and they were playing previous editions, music. Different countries will gather with their flags and their jerseys. I was
yeah.
fascinated, and I
So
started
cool.
recognizing a couple of faces. So yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so the Bulgarian participants, there was like 30, I think you mentioned, something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, I think 29, 28 finished. The only one that did not finish was 80 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
he's pretty strong rider. He actually had a
Yeah.
support van with him, but he was still not able to finish.
Okay. That's cool. And then was your plan to stick with other riders that you knew, or you were just going to do it yourself?
Yes, I did. This is what Europeans do, and I don't think it's the best strategy.
Okay, really?
Unless you
So you,
start in the same group and you have the same strengths. So
yeah. So you intended then to ride with your friends from Bulgaria, is that right? And they were
yeah,
different time starting waves, is that right? So
exactly.
you had to wait for them, they had to wait for you, that kind of thing.
Right. Eventually we meet and controls, and the group gets bigger and bigger. But then eventually I started running out of time, and then I realized this guy's more relaxed than me because he has one more hour
Yes.
available than me. So it's kind of
Yeah.
a funny thing, right?
It really is. I think there's such a benefit in riding with others, but there's also a big disadvantage, particularly in low moments or just times of stress, that kind of thing. Um, and then if I remember, like it started going pretty well for you, but then you had some kind of a mechanical in Brest. Is that right? Is that
That is
correct?
correct.
Yeah.
And I think at the worst time, right before Rock Travelzel, I'm not pronouncing it,
Okay.
but um, my shifter cable broke, the rear, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I was climbing the rock. I mean, my bike was steel, Velo
Yeah.
Orange Randonneur with a Paradise back and a front back. It was a
Yeah.
tank, and I was barely crawling, and there was a French guy on the side of the road, Monsieur. So I stopped, and he was trying to help me out, but my French is horrible. I wasted like half an hour there, and I was like, Brest is right there, let's go. But not
Yeah.
realizing, as you know, the control there is on top of the hill. It's
Yes.
quite
Yes.
steep. I was
Yeah.
burnt just to get there.
Oh my God. Oh, crazy. And did you start freaking out at that point thinking, oh my God, I might not finish with this mechanical, or you thought this is fine, just part of PBP?
Not yet. I mean, it was my first time. I had no idea. You had to like sign on the wait list for the mechanic because there was quite a few guys there, right? And they
Yeah.
told me 45 minutes, so I fell asleep. 2 hours later, I wake up and I'm still waiting. And then one guy told me, well, you can just give him extra money and you can bump the others. But I wasted a lot of time there, hours.
Oh, oh my God.
Yeah.
And did your friends wait for you, or they just went on?
No, they went on. And then, in
Yeah.
fact, I missed the control time afterwards due to the delay in Brest. But it turns out they allow you to make up that time in the next two controls. So everything was fine.
Cool. So then once the bike was fixed, you jump on the bike, you're kind of behind schedule. Was it stressful?
It was, I met there the founder of Randonneurs Bulgaria, Dimitar Balansky. I think he's done it 7 times now. And he asked me what I've done in the past, which we didn't speak much, but I lost time in Ludiac. I lost time in Fougères, which, for newbie, understandable. But he told me controls, don't stop there. Get the stamp and go, or you will not make it, because I went to Ludiac. Everyone wants to sleep there. Then I went to use the restroom. You have to wait 30 minutes. I went to get food, 45 minutes. I was on the
Yeah.
queue for beds, So anyhow, without sleeping, I lost 2 hours. So I was not super efficient, but it turns out you can lose so much time in controls.
Yeah. And then do I remember you may have even got lost at one point as well? Is that right?
Yeah, actually, right towards the end, 10 miles. I think people were stealing the arrows, and I think
Okay.
in the following edition, they started giving them to the riders before the event, so they don't steal them. Great idea.
Yeah.
So,
So, and
yeah,
like you must have felt, because you ended with just 89 hours and 1 minute, right? Which is cutting it close, Georgie, quite frankly.
yep,
Were
yep.
you stressed until the very, very last moment?
Well, I was, I think the previous day too, because of the advice I just told you, I slept in a cornfield. I thought that was also a great idea. You kind of have a cover from the wind there. You can, relax and get some rest. But the rain was really bad because I finished so late. The morning of, well, during the night, it was raining really hard, and I barely made it. Um, Barely made it. It was pretty horrible. But the guys that I met towards the end in that huge downpour, I'm still friends with many of them to this day, and we talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, retrospectively, you joined the Adrian Hands Society. Is that right? Your intention was not to actually join that society. You wanted to do a lot better, I think. Is that right?
Exactly. Well, I wanted to finish, but I had no idea what that is. Yep.
That's cool. The other thing you mentioned was, I think you had something written about your mother on your visor. Is that right? Kind of inspirational. Is that right?
Yeah. I lost her the previous year,
Yeah.
breast cancer, which has been one of the things moving me forward. I raise funds for this breast cancer foundation now. But yeah, that was a huge motivator. I was just thinking, hey, you're hurt, your bike is broken, heat, etc. It's nothing compared to what these people are going through. So you better fight. And then you see these guys in France, right? Different
Yeah.
ages, uh, different sizes, different abilities. I mean, there was a guy with shorts and a plastic bag. He had no shoes, he had no jersey, and
Yeah.
if he can do it, why I can't do it? You know.
So true. So true. Cool. Well, congratulations on that first finished. At least you got it finished, right? So then
Thank
the
you.
4 years in between, as soon as you crossed the finish line, did you say to yourself, I'm definitely coming back? Is that correct?
Oh yeah, without a
Okay.
doubt.
Because you had so
Yeah,
much
without a
fun,
doubt.
or you just wanted to do it better this time?
Well, yes, my type of fun, the one that hurts a
Okay.
little bit, but it's also fun. Yeah.
That's funny. So did you do anything in those interim 4 years that helped you prepare better for 2019?
A lot. I think that finish gave me a lot of confidence, and
Yeah.
local riders really supported me. Andrea, Nancy, and John Good, and they spoke to me and told me you should start racing. So in 2016, I did my first race, Calvin Challenge. But anyway, everything completely changed from this steel
Yeah.
bike, heavily loaded. I'm now on this light bike racing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I changed everything.
And was this with the DC Randonneurs? Is that the
That
club
is
you were?
correct.
Okay. And did you do the first attempt with those people, or was that a Bulgarian team?
But I was with them. I had the DC and the New York jersey. I had both, but
Okay,
I was
I
under
get
the
you.
American flag. I was not American until before the 2023 edition.
Okay, I get you. So then, anyway, so you then, 2019, you decided to do it again. You want to do a much better time. Is that correct? What was your
Yes.
goal?
My goal was to see how close I can get to 60 hours. I think my buddy Eric Williams was the rookie of the year in 15. I think he did it in 70, 67, 73. I thought that was pretty amazing. And I
Yeah.
wanted to see how close I can get to that time and, maybe get to 60 hours. But I had no goals of Charly Miller. Plus, I was not able to do it. It's only for US citizens.
Okay. And what were the big changes you were going to make to try to get to sub 60 hours?
Well, I had a beautiful Cervelo frame. So we
Okay.
changed to a carbon bike.
Yeah,
Um, I think that was the first year where they allowed aero bars, if
that's
I'm
right.
not
Yeah.
mistaken. So I
Yeah, I
had
think
the
so.
aero bars. I had no set. I did not have a bag in the front, the handlebars. It was kind of heavy. I did not like the handling. Uh, especially descending. If you load it, just for me, it wasn't great. But I wanted to be lighter. I wanted to be more aero. I was more conscious about my food choices, about my pacing. Do I stay with group or not? How do I plan my control stops? All,
Yeah.
all of it.
Getting back to the aero bars, I think they're still legal. Is that right? I think they're legal in
Yes.
2023 as well. Tell
Yes.
me, why did you adopt the aero bars?
Well, and for PBP, well, it helps, but there's big groups to draft, so you already have huge advantage. But they do help. But the main thing was also to alleviate some of the pain, right? Just have more hand positions. And I do have some issues with my back and other stuff, but just mainly for comfort.
Cool. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
I remember you writing that it was the A group you started in. Isn't that right? Which is the fastest group.
that is correct. And another thing on the aero bars, they are
Yeah.
allowed, but the front of the bars cannot extend past the visual line of the brake hoods. So
Okay.
it's allowed, but it's not super ideal situation. And the way I went around this was extend my stem, so my reach
Okay.
was further. So you stretched out, but I spend 80-90% in the aero bars. But
I
it's
get you.
yeah, it's kind of a way situation.
Cool. So then A group you knew was going to be very fast. Tell me, what had you heard about that A group, and your intention obviously was to stay with them as long as possible. Is that correct?
Yeah, and some of it, you have to pre-qualify for it with a big event. I figured all the guys that are finishing fast are starting in the A group. I should too, um, and I did, but I really didn't research it as much as I should have.
Okay.
I also met in 15 good friend of mine, a great ultra cyclist by the name Marco Ballo. He's done race across America 10 times, and he was starting in B. So looking back, I'm not going to be starting in A, even if I can. But I'll tell
Okay.
you why.
And
Yeah.
okay. And had you been warned about, like, it starts very fast? That's what I've heard. There's also a lot of crashes. It can be kind of dangerous. Are all those things true?
They're very true, and you know, I heard about it, but I didn't really think it was going to be that bad. Because I
Okay.
think right from the start, the car is in the front, so some guys maybe like media attention, they're fighting for position. Some guys are with 3, 4 guys group, they're from the same team maybe, but you don't really know these guys' riding styles. And we went on descent. I saw this seat back shift left, right. It wasn't connected properly. It drops almost in front of me. 3, 4 guys crash. I mean, behind you, there's hundreds coming. I don't know who crashed, where, if anyone is okay or not. But it's, there's guys pushing with shoulders, each other for position, just coming in between two of you, stopping in front of you. Bottles are
Crazy.
flying.
Oh
It's
my
pretty
God.
insane. Plus,
And
France, there's roundabout every 50 feet. So,
oh yes, yeah. And tell me,
yeah,
at what point does it kind of chill out a bit more? Does it get more relaxed? You're less fearful after how many kilometers?
maybe 100 miles, first
Okay.
control.
And
Things kind of,
you make amazing time, I'm sure. Is that right?
yeah, you're flying. You're flying, especially with the draft. But that's the danger too, right? How hard can you really push and for how long can you sustain the space? Plus, some guys
Yeah.
don't want to work, the smart ones. Like
Yeah.
the ones that are doing it for first time, they feel the draft and they want to stay with the group. But we were not cooperating really good, actually. I think it was in
Okay.
that edition that the group split and everyone just wanted to draft, and I was pissed. So I just went ahead and I joined the group in front of me, which it was a mistake, a
Yeah.
good 20-minute effort that I paid for later. But
I get you. And at what
yeah,
time did you kind of drop off the fast group or do your own thing?
I mean, I think eventually after the 300K for Gier, I was kind of on the second, third, but they're not, obviously they're not 300. They are down to a smaller group. But I think I arrived
Yeah.
in Brest maybe in 120th to 140th position. I was still up there. I
Yeah.
was there in 24 hours and a half, and there was a strong headwind that year, very strong headwind to Brest.
So that's incredible. 24 and a half hours. Incredible. And did you
Something
sleep?
like that. Yeah.
Did you sleep at all on the way to
Funny
Brest?
story. I'll
Yeah.
make it short. No, 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 no. There was no planning on sleeping. But I had a hotel in Brest, right?
Yeah.
And which was I thought great idea. Turns out there's a group, I don't know, some kids vacation, and they were just going up and down the stairs. So it wasn't ideal. I probably got hour and 45 instead of 3, but it is what it is.
That's crazy. Wow. So then once you have your sleep, you get back on your bike. Are you still trying to find a fast group again, or everyone's kind of dispersed at that point? Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of dispersed.
Yeah.
But because most guys that are going for Charly Miller or the ones that are going for, you know, 42, 45, 46 hours, they're gone. They don't really
Yeah.
sleep. They might take 1 or 2 short naps, but
Sure. And after Brest, you're still on schedule for a sub 60 finish. So you're feeling pretty good at that point or not?
I was feeling pretty good. But the sleep, that was a big problem that I was going to pay for later. The headwind and being in those aero bars for long, that was going to be a big problem too. The headlights of everyone incoming, because I was there during the night, right? So I'm leaving Brest, and then you have, I don't know, 5,000 people coming your way with their headlights. Eventually, my neck started to give up from
Okay.
all the riding into the headwind, and I was starting to fall asleep because of the lack of sleep.
Wow. And your neck issues, what do they call it again? Schwimmer's neck? I forget the name again. Is it something like that?
Shermer's, yeah,
Schirmer's neck,
Shermer's
right?
neck.
Have you had that issue before or was this new?
It was new,
Do you think it might have been the aero bars or not really?
definitely. Plus the
Okay.
plus the wind,
Okay.
you
So
know,
just
the
a
stiff the
lot more.
stiff headwind.
Yeah. And had you spent time on aero bars before that, or they were kind of new to you as well?
They were kind of new. They were
Okay.
kind of new. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So then things started going south. Your neck was hurting. Describe the rest of the
Mhm.
ride to me.
The rest of the ride was managing your losses.
Yeah.
But I think my neck was feeling so bad that on the climbs is fine, but going down, uh, I had to stand up going down, and then even on the flats, I would have to just push my head up, and then three,
Oh,
4 seconds later, it's down. So eventually, I had a half a liter bottle under my neck.
oh God.
I think that was for the last 200K. And the funny thing
Yeah.
was, I was with these very strong French riders, 50s,
Yeah.
strong like bulls, and maybe a group of 8 or 9,
Yeah.
and everyone's taking turn, and I took one turn, but then I keep pointing to my neck with my not great French,
Yeah.
but they keep saying, "Monsieur, you have to take your pull," and so they did not really care.
Yeah.
So I thought,
um,
you guys will crash with me, I'll pull.
yeah. Cool.
So
And then when did you feel time really slipping away? Like that sub kind of 60 was off the table.
my favorite control, Villeneuve-Gihel.
Yeah.
Yeah, things went south there. That's great control. Yeah, so I went to the doctor there, but they just gave me a massage. I don't think they really understood. Well, maybe I'm wrong. What
Okay.
I was experiencing, they just gave me a little bit of cream and they sent me on my way. You know,
Okay.
yeah,
I think you said the last 120 kilometers was the hardest ride in your life. Is that right?
it was really hard. Just it was cold. I remember in maybe Drew right before the finish, my neck. It was horrible. I wasn't really worried about the 60-hour finish. I was like, I can't finish this. Those when in tough moments, all of these thoughts are going through your head. You start to
Yeah.
doubt yourself, and
Clearly.
but yeah,
And you're obviously by yourself, or at least no other kind of friends, no other Bulgarians. So a lot of dark
correct.
thoughts can enter your brain. So then you get to the finish line. How did it feel?
Horrible. I think right. I should be happy. So it's kind of a mixed feeling. I think it was super hot at
Yeah.
midday, and my friend Hamid, his wife was there shop, so she greeted me. I looked terrible. And we just went and had food, and I just went straight to bed because the only way to fix this neck issue is sleep, rest, which I
Yeah.
tried to earlier in some of the controls, but there's really no other way. And
Cool.
obviously ahead of time, strength exercises and stuff. But I was really, really relieved and really happy. I mean, almost finishing one day faster than the previous edition.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
amazing. So
yeah,
you finished with 65 hours and 17 minutes, which is an incredible time considering all the problems you had. Cool. So
yeah.
then
First Bulgarian
for
that year.
yeah, that's great. That's cool. So then 2023, you've decided I'm going to come back and I'm just going to crush this thing called PBP. I'm going to do Charly Miller. I've had all the
Yep.
experiences. I know what to do. So what was the different strategy for 2023?
Yeah. So something like that.
Okay.
2023. Um, well, in 21, I raced across the country, right?
Oh,
Uh,
right.
from
Cool.
from Portland to DC. I was already racing, winning, having some great results here and there. My bike was dialed in, my nutrition was dialed in. Um, I thought that I was in a really good spot to accomplish that.
And so you definitely felt that Charlie Miller was attainable, and it should have been.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so what was kind of different in terms of strategy? Were you still doing the aero bars?
Yeah. Yep.
Had you done anything for your neck to fix that issue?
Yeah. I have this torture-looking device, a chain that you connect weight.
Oh no!
I do some wrestlers exercises. You might see me walk after work with a box on my head for a little bit,
Nice,
but
nice.
uh,
Yeah.
the main thing is just change your position. You know, don't be
Yeah,
so
I
aggressive.
get
It's
you.
not it's not as needed, and I'm not 20 anymore. There's
Yeah.
plenty of draft at PBP.
Cool. Actually, can I just read? You sent me something about how you thought about achieving Charlie Miller, the 56 hours and 40 minutes, which I think was very simple and succinct. So basically, you wanted to average 15 miles an hour moving speed, which is going to give me 50 hours and 35 minutes. Okay. That allows 6 hours and 5 minutes for sleep, and stopping at controls. So those 6 hours, you felt if you did 3 hours sleeping, 3 hours kind of controls and all that kind of stuff, it would be achievable, which is a very simple way to look at it. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. So had
I
you
think so. I
talked?
think it's sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Had you talked to many people about Charly Miller and the whole strategy behind that, or you kind of knew what you were getting yourself into already? I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think I definitely talked to Mark Thomas,
Yeah,
um, and a couple other guys. Yeah,
I get you. So was it Group A again? Crazy Group A?
I think so. I think
Okay,
so. Yeah, that was a mistake. I should have been in B or even the latest one in the A. I mean,
I
sorry,
get,
of the first, the 80-hour groups.
I get you. The start again, was it as crazy as before, as dangerous as before, but you kind of knew what to expect?
Yeah, I mean, after all these years of riding, you don't want to be in the middle of the pack. You want to have
Yeah,
an exit lane. You pass people to the left, so I tend to stay on the left. You don't want to be too much to the right; they will push you out of the road. You don't want to be in the middle of the pack.
yeah,
Stay on the brakes. Find a
cool,
familiar face and stick with them. Yeah.
cool. So, well, tell us what happened then. How did PBP go that year?
I think really everything went south at the start.
Okay.
Number one, I arrived there 2 days before the start. Looking back, this is what I'm going to change. I'm going to arrive there 3, 4 days in advance, maybe even adjust to that time zone. Start
Yeah,
sleeping here at different time before I even get there. And then number two, well, the new setup in Rambouillet, not ideal. I mean, I like it. It's a beautiful place, but totally different than the velodrome in the sense that it's a wide open field and they were lining us up obviously super early. It was
yeah.
very hot.
I
I think
remember.
my
Yeah,
start was 4:15, but I actually, because there's so many people, by the time I crossed the start line, the chip detected 4:19. But we were sitting in the sun for 2 hours, between 2 and 4 p.m. So I was really cooked.
yeah.
Um,
I remember
yeah,
that. It was a mixture of nervousness and just heat, exhaustion, even before you started. Yeah.
exactly.
So then you
Um,
start. Continue. Sorry. Go ahead with your story.
no, no, that was really the main thing there. That really set the race to what was to come next. Yeah.
Yeah. And what did come next, Georgie?
Well, I was really fatigued right from the beginning. I wasn't cramping, but almost feeling like I was cramping. I was not really pushing myself. I was, holding back myself a little bit. I was with a guy from Seattle and another couple of guys. A few guys from Bulgaria passed by. So I wasn't really chasing anybody. I was keeping my own pace, but I was cooked. It was so hot, and when I saw my heart rate really elevated, because I train with heart rate, it was so unusual. Just constantly at 150, 160, which I know it's super high and not sustainable for a long time. And at that pace, I should not be having this kind of heart rate. Plus, I was fatigued. But worst, I was dizzy and lightheaded, as if I'm gonna faint. Something was really off with
Wow.
me. I felt really sick. Maybe 50 miles in. I was not even at the first control. So
Yeah. And at what point did you realize that, well, Charly Miller ain't gonna happen?
I'm not a guy to easily give up. I figured,
Yeah.
maybe I can do a reverse split and come back faster from Brest, which good luck. But you have to believe. It starts with
Yeah.
believing in yourself.
I get you.
Uh, it's still the
And
beginning. So
definitely. And was it very similar again, just very fast pace lines, just trying to stay safe, but you were just feeling fatigued? That was the problem. Something didn't feel quite right.
yeah, I think it was a little better as far as the pace and in the beginning. I think 15 was more chaotic for some reason. Maybe because of where we started. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Kind of a more heavily populated area, San Quentin versus Rambouillet. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
So then when you got to Brest, you made it to Brest, obviously. And time wise, you were kind of behind. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I was there in 27 and a half. Obviously, at that time, you start doing the calculations. Well, you constantly are doing the
Yeah, I know.
calculations, but this is an uphill battle, you know. But just making it here, because I think before Fougere, I forget the name of the control, but when I arrived there, a friend of mine also arrived. His wife was waiting there, but I arrived before him, and she was seeing my muscle spasm. I was cramping up really bad, you know. So I had to sit down and just rehydrate and just, you know, the best thing to do is slow down the pace, rehydrate, rest up a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
and eventually you get back around.
And what about sleep this time? Was it better or not?
Well, this is one of the things that I'm mostly proud of because I did this one with two 1 hour sleep breaks, 45
Okay,
minutes to
great.
an hour. Uh,
Nice.
so yeah,
And did you manage to do that within the controls or just by the side of the road?
side of the road.
Nice. Okay. Old school. I like it. Cool. That's great.
If you're tired, you stop. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
where you are,
Yeah.
just sleep.
Any issues with your neck or anything?
No, that was
Okay.
good.
Great. Great. So then you finished, let me just see here. Your time was 66 hours and 2 minutes, which again, Georgie, that's pretty incredible for someone who wasn't feeling good. Pretty amazing. How did you feel at the finish line?
I felt amazing.
Okay.
I did not
Okay.
look
Really?
amazing, but I felt amazing. But I think
Okay.
one thing I missed to mention is I caught this group of mix of French Italian riders, maybe about
Yeah.
20 of us, and the roads were really nice. Uh, I think after Fougere, we were flying. I mean, I have to look at the splits on the results online, but I made a whole lot of time there. Obviously, I was not stopping at controls as much. I did not sleep as much, but everyone was taking turns. So we really worked together nicely because my pace was kind of steady. It should be dropping, you know, as far
Of
as
course.
speed. But looking
Yeah.
back, yeah, that was pretty helpful.
That's cool. So how did you feel at the finish line?
I was I was elated, you know. I was really happy that I was able to finish just like
Yeah.
every single time, you know. I don't really look back at the failures, if you can call it a failure. You hit a goal, it wasn't really the way you expected it, but that's part of it,
Oh,
you know.
that's cool. That is good. It's good attitude. I have the opposite. I like to dwell on my failures, but okay. All right. Question. Um, do you plan to do PBP again? I think I know the answer, but I suspect the answer
I
is
go for 10. I go for 10.
that's good.
I'll
I
be
like that. Okay.
65. If I don't
That's
miss
not
one, I'll be 65 at the time, so I think I have a legit chance.
you. Yeah, man. That's my next question. So 65, you think you can keep going until, which is actually for someone, I would imagine you could go even deeper, right?
I think so.
69, 73, but 10 would be a nice round number, certainly. Yeah. And do you think you'll try a Charly Miller again?
Without a doubt.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And what do you think will be the difference in strategy, if there is any difference? Stay out of the sun, perhaps, while you're waiting at the beginning.
Right. Start late, which I already said earlier.
Yeah.
Um, it's always the efficiency, picking the right group, picking the right gear, be lighter, be more aero. Technology is improving, clothing is improving, everything is improving. So I just have to be smart about it. Dial in your nutrition, which
Yeah.
is half of it, honestly. You can be as strong as you want and have the best bicycle, but if you can't hold foot down, bad things can happen, you know. And please don't do 150 grams of carbs at PVP per hour.
Okay. All right.
At least
Um,
not for me.
okay. So before I ask you the three tips that guarantee a finish, maybe you just want to talk about the people of Brittany, the support on the side of the road, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, we can talk a long time, but I really love these guys. I adopted the idea that all Americans have of creating some souvenirs for them. So I had these buttons. But there's the famous creperie, which you stop and they cook for you. They give you their addresses. You send a postcard, which you then see the following time you come back on this wall. Um, there was the gentleman at the creperie that offered me to sleep in front of his house. He pulled a mattress. There was the
Wow.
lady in the rain in 15 and 3 in the morning opening the window, 3 in the morning in the rain. Bon
Yeah.
courage, allez. and you get goosebumps. It doesn't matter how tired you are. There's all these kids on the side of the road just running down to give you a high five, and they're so happy with their moms. I mean, I was amazed, especially if you're with group that is locals, which I was one time. Their wife came around, and she was running next to her husband as he was passing through town, stopped and hug and kiss. The kids are there. It's a
Yeah.
festival for everyone. The event's been happening since what, 1891.
Yeah. Yeah. So cool. I agree. Great.
It is.
All right, Georgie. Let's end it then with your 3 tips that guarantee a finish. Tip number 1.
Efficiency. Do not waste time at controls.
Okay. Cool.
Um, Tip number 2, ride your own pace, nobody else's. Even if you're a friend, now you're strong. 3 hours later, he's strong. If you're not together, you will regroup eventually. We see that a lot. Um, Tip number 3, yeah, I think that was pretty good one that I said earlier. Arrive earlier, adjust to the time zone. Test your equipment.
Cool.
No,
Makes sense. Georgie, it's been a complete pleasure. Thank you. And hopefully you can make at least 10 PBP completions. I'm very confident that you can, okay?
thank you for your time.